Mundo Bizarro, and welcome to my dungeon, which is my basement, where I and the rest of Dark Arbor Lodge are building, all around me, a puppet set, space station interior for our Werewolves on the Moon puppet trailer. So that's what you're seeing behind me. Anyway, glad to be here, and let's just get to these questions you've got. Some really good questions, thank you. And do you remember any movies that inspired you to dedicate your life to art? Which ones were they? Well, I'm a child of the 50s. I was born in 1953. So the later 1957 on, science fiction particularly, which was so big at the time, was very influential to me. Obviously, this was the big boom for television. And so what they were using for filler was a lot of the older movies, which meant I got to grow up as a little kid on the Universal horror movies, all the classics. And they're very influential. King Kong was gigantically influential to me. I really wanted to be a stop-motion animator when I was a kid, until I found out just how much work it is and how concentrated it is. And that sort of made me give up on that one pretty quick. Anyway, I have to say the single most influential moment in terms of, being a decisive moment for me, a formative moment for me, was when I went to see Jason and the Argonauts in a movie theater. I can't remember, I was maybe 10 or 11. I had not seen the inside of a movie theater before then. I'd seen movies before, but they were always at the drive-in with the family. And this was a Saturday matinee that, my parents just dropped me off and said, "Here, get out of the house for a while." And it was a grand old theater in Chicago, beautiful 1930s. I'm in awe as a little kid. I'd never been in a space that big, with the stars painted on the ceiling, and I was just awestruck. And then the movie comes on, and Jason and the Argonauts is, of course, Ray Harryhausen movie with incredible effects. And I was just loving it. I'm just eating it up as a kid. And then it gets to that one moment. And I'm not the only effects person or anybody who says this is the moment, because this is a very common thing to hear from effects people particularly. It's the moment in the film where it's Hercules and, I can't remember the other character's name, is it Hylas? Are escaping with the god's jewelry or whatever, and the statue of Talos turns his head and looks down, essentially right at the audience, and with this great metal wrenching sound. And it was just, I was, could not even blink. I was so enraptured by it. And I knew there was this little voice inside of me saying, I have no idea what I'm looking at, I don't understand how this happens, but I know that somehow I want my life to be part of this. And that really was the big decisive moment for me. And after that, it was just kind of like riveted to famous monsters, to try and glean as much information about effects and makeup and all that stuff, because I didn't know, what I wanted to do, because I didn't really know what anything was at that point, and I was just learning. But I knew I wanted to learn, and I knew that I wanted to be doing that stuff. And so that was really the biggest single influence on me. Although, if you're a monster kid, it's all inspiration. I mean, everything. The Three Stooges shorts if there was a gorilla suit in it, that was great. I loved it. So pretty much any monster thing was inspiration for me. And I didn't, of course, as a little kid, didn't really know what pathway that would be. for me to get to do that, but I did figure it out. I did find my way, awkwardly, but I found my way. But yeah, it's hard to pinpoint anything as influential as that moment in Jason and the Argonauts. But there's so much cool stuff.